Tandem axle, tandem Jeep, and 2 plus, what is it? 2 plus 2 in the back. Doing my first run. Today is Tuesday. What is it? August 19th, 18th, I think 19th. And I have a nice load. It's a skid steer with a door. I remember the first time I saw that entry on the delivery paper. It says skid steer door. And I'm like, what is this? And they say, well, because in the summer, some people, when they rent a skid steer, they don't want the door, and so when it comes with the door, they put it as a separate entry, even though of course when the skid steer is parked, it always has the door attached, right? Because it's not easy to take it off and put it back on. Actually, I remember a couple of times when I worked in Drumheller on that construction site, and we had Bobcats and we had John Deere, like large skid steers, tracked, and there was like over here on the left there was a red lever, and basically that lever was to detach the door. So actually, yeah, it was not that difficult to detach it, and so a couple of times guys hit that lever and the door came off from the hinges. It was loose, you cannot lock it, and it took them forever. It takes, and actually that sign says, you know, like, warning, this pulling this thing will basically unlock the door, and special tools are required to reattach it. And when that happened, it would take the guy, like probably with the help of another guy, like 30 minutes, you know, to reattach the door. It was really difficult, you know. So anyway, so I have a wheeled case skid steer, very nice machine with a big display over here on the right, you know, and when you back, it activates the rear view camera, like real fancy. But my dispatch said, I was asking about this, you know, like what brand is better, and they said they started buying Case because Case is cheaper than John Deere, and John Deere is cheaper than Bobcat. Basically, I was surprised to learn that Bobcat is the most expensive brand, and we have all of them. We have Bobcat, you know, like smaller loaders, mostly are Bobcat, and then we have Ditch Witch, you know, those that stand behind. But these big ones, yeah, we have Case. We don't have Bobcat, like big ones. We have the large skid steers, like what I have now is, it's either John Deere or Case, and they're slowly phasing out John Deere. And quite often, like, I never took a Case, the skid steer, to a repair shop, but every now and then they're telling me, okay, go pick up, let's say, unit 7 and take it to Brandt Tractor, because Brandt is a John Deere dealer. So these John Deere machines don't seem to be very reliable. And I'm headed to the same area in northwest Calgary where I was yesterday with a pickup truck. And funny story, I was loading, I had 2 pickups on the same street, just different house numbers. So I was picking up scaffolding, and there was no parking near the house, so I had to park on the other side of the road, and it's not very, you know, wide, so it's like probably I had to carry stuff at the last stop. Like the first stop was okay, I was able to back to the garage, but this last stop, and pretty much all new development, like there's after that house there was a field. There's, you know, that's it. That's the end of this, of civilization. And there were some dump trucks going in and out there into the field, and you know, they're pretty loud, right? So I heard 2 trucks pass as I'm going to from the house to the truck. I had to carry, what is it, like, just not too much, like about 3 decks, 10-footer decks, 2 frames, and 4 casters, and 1 brace, 10-foot long brace. And so I'm not there, right? I'm moving in and out, and I come back, secure my stuff, and this time I decided not to put up the tailgate, but I left it flat. And so I because, you know, I had 6 decks total, and 6 decks they're pretty heavy. On the tailgate it's hard to properly lock it, and so I left it down like this, but folded, with the extension folded, and I just strapped it, and it was cool. So I think from now on I'm gonna do it like that. So instead of muscling, you know, fighting that tailgate under the heavy weight. But anyway, I get in the truck, I turn the key, and I prepare to pull out. So of course I have to check my mirror, and I look to my left to the mirror, and I will wait, what the heck? There's no mirror. The mirror is folded this way, because that was Ford F-350. It has folding mirrors, and so it's folded like this. I did not do that. So I step outside, and I see that the top left part of the mirror has cracks, and the only vehicles that could have done it would be those 2 dump trucks, either the first one or the second, because, you know, I remember there was only 2 dump trucks passing me, and I was parked legally on the right side, as close as possible to the curb, but it's a, you know, it's a narrow street, and so some idiot hit my mirror and didn't stop, you know. And so I had to, when I took pictures and I came back, I told my dispatch, I said, this is what happened, you know, like, don't blame me, it's not me. No, because especially, yeah, a driver could have done it. Basically, for me to do it like that, I would have to be backing close to some obstacle, right? And it'll be very difficult to do, you know, without damaging the rear of the rear of the truck, because the mirror is here, right? But this guy was coming from that direction, and actually, yeah, I'm happy that he didn't hit anything else. But imagine, the mirror is pretty big on that Ford. That sticks out probably like this, like 1.5 foot, you know. And so I'm surprised he didn't hit the actual body of the truck. Okay, am I going straight where I'm going? Yeah, it was pretty much this area, just further northwest. There's a bunch of construction going on over here. I see some rock trucks, some scrapers, I see an excavator. Man, some, you know, I always wanted to try, well, I drove them, you know, these rock trucks, right? When I loaded them and unloaded them. They're such cool machines, you know. That probably would be a cool job. And it's funny that all you need is a regular license, because it's an off-road vehicle. You actually don't need any license at all for them, but as long as you have your class 5 in Alberta, or like G in Ontario, like for a regular car or pickup truck, that's all you need, you know. But I applied many times, actually. I applied many times when I see the, you know, advertisements on Indeed or like Workapolis. And they don't care. They don't care that somebody has like 20 years of experience as a trucker. Yeah, because I got my license class 1 or AZ in 2005, and now it's 2025. And okay, I parked my K-Whopper in 2022, but I've been driving, you know, all kinds of vehicles, right? So I still consider this is trucking. It's still a much larger vehicle than a car. Oh, sorry, and we cannot see them. They're behind this berm. That's a fancy word, you know. I learned that when I went to that wheel loader school in Innisfail, where I got my wheel loader operator certificate, and each day we were doing different exercises, right? Build this, build that, and one of them was called building a berm. I'm like, what the heck is a berm? Never heard that word before, you know? Turns out it's a pile of dirt arranged in a special way to make it look attractive to an inspector. Okay, that's what, now you know what a berm, B-E-R-M, what a berm is. Yeah, so this is northwest Calgary. Beautiful area, except they're closer to the mountains than me, which makes it more dangerous in case of a hailstorm. So it looks like this area is called Embleton. Embleton, and where I'm going, it's more like Lewiston. Yeah, see over here? Huge excavators. There's a dozer over there, a guy just probably going for coffee. But I don't think they'll let him through the drive-through with that bucket. It's too wide. What is that? That's a Caterpillar Cat 973K. Here's a wheel loader with a funny attachment in the front. They use it for gravel or dirt, when he just pushes himself into a pile of, let's say, gravel, and that thing is full with gravel, and then he can, when he drops it, he can drop it at the exact, place, exact spots. Here's a John Deere 300G and another 300G. Look at this. It's like construction everywhere. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 excavators and one wheel loader. Am I still going straight? Oh, another excavator over here. Like, when I see excavators, I get excited as John in UK gets excited when he sees a combine. Because I don't know what is it about combines. Maybe because his son works on farms as a mechanic and engineer. But when we were driving around, each time he saw a combine, he was, oh, combine, what's he doing over here? By the way, here there was I see it says Simon's Valley Ranch, and then over there it says market store. Basically there was like a big property. It looked like a farm and stuff like that with some stores, and there were some vehicles parked on the other side. It's quite a big property. And now I see everything is empty, and they start demolishing everything. So looks like somebody made a lot of money selling the place to these guys, to some developers, because it's all residential. So this was probably the last farm in the area, but it's quite big. So yeah, they're gonna tear it down and build a couple of condominiums over here. And I remember I was passing this spot. There was where that green garbage container is. You see, like, whenever they have these garbage containers, that means that they're tearing things down. That's where they put the shit, right? And where that garbage container was, there was think it was a Peterbilt. It was a Peterbilt, you know, highway truck with a sleeper and had a big sign for sale, and it was sitting there forever. Like each time I come to this area, I see the truck, and I think I took a picture. I texted it to a guy who was, I remember that guy who lost his truck to a fire. And there's a rock truck, there's a compactor. I see, and here's this is the field, right? So this is the end of, there's another farm. Looks like abandoned probably, or somebody already bought it. So yeah, it was all farmland, right? And then, actually look, there's a house. So somebody still lives there. And they probably own these fields. So that's how you make money, you know? You build a farm, you build a house on a large parcel of land, and then you wait till the city comes to you. So what developments happen, right? And then somebody offers you a lot of money. Hey, I would like to buy your land. How much you want? Well, how much money you have? Because I have a lot of bills and a lot of relatives, a lot of grandchildren. Takara Drive? Yeah, I see it's all fields here. And I called the guy, I said, hey, I'm coming with a skid steer. And he says, oh, my guys are on site. And they're waiting for you. I see another guy is, that's a Kitco Construction. So he's loading these rock trucks over here. Komatsu rock trucks, and the excavator is a John Deere. It's just crazy. It's like living in a war zone, you know? Or like after the war when they rebuild everything. There's another cat dozer. There's some dump trucks over there. I'm guessing they're trying to tear down this big hill. See a dump truck with a trailer, and then there's a John Deere machine excavator gonna load them with some dirt.
At the roundabout, take the third exit onto Eden Green Northwest, then take the first right.
The most stupid job I think in construction probably is this, you know, operating like a roller like that. Imagine all the vibration, and all day you're doing the same thing, going up and down the field. All right, is this way somewhere here? Oh, skid steer. No signs? I have no idea. Do I have to yield? Who cares? It's a new development. Alright, so it's this way. Okay. Now, how am I supposed to... Oh, forget it. We'll go to the next one. Well, actually, it's not too tight, but that's how you get your mirrors broken. That's how you get your mirrors broken. And it was one of these guys. It was like the guy without a trailer that knocked out my mirror on the Ford F-350.
Turn right onto Mitchell Hill
Yeah, I see this way it's much wider.
First left onto Mitchell Way Northwest.
Okay.
Turn left onto Mitchell Way Northwest. Then the destination is on your right.
Well, just unloaded the machine. It's behind me over there. The guy came and he was waiting for me in this Toyota van. So I said, what are you gonna be doing with this thing? He says, well, I have to drill 40 holes behind these houses near the fence. And he says, I have no idea how to get there because there's no back alley. And I said, do you know what the holes are for? He says, no. Which to me is a bit funny, right? So basically somebody hires you and says, okay, show up tomorrow
Turn right.
at 7:30 and be ready to operate a skid steer with a drill, you know, with the auger. What are the holes for? Oh, we don't know. Somebody just hired us to make holes. But actually, yeah, I asked him, and then
Turn right.
when I finished
Drive northwest.
putting my chains away, he comes back and he says it's for fencing. So basically they're setting up a new fence. Nice looking Subaru. Yeah, we don't have Suzuki over here, right? But Subaru is super popular. And I think recently I read, oh, I had this one, Mazda 3. I had two of those actually. I had one with a 2-liter engine.
50 meters at the roundabout. Take the second exit.
Yeah, one was with a 2.0 liter and the other one was 2.5. Oh wow, this guy's all over the road. Like some of these guys, you know, you really have to watch for these dump trucks. Especially a huge one like this with a trailer. And so yeah, one was a 2.0 2-liter and the other one was 2.5, same as the 3, but 2.5 was faster, but of course worse on gas. But they both were nice cars, except that it was sport, right? It was called Mazda 3 Sport. They like designating everything as a race car, right? And so that 2.5, the last one I had, Mazda 3, and I swore I will never buy another Mazda 3 again. It had a super hard
Roundabout.
suspension.
Exit.
You know, you feel every crack in the pavement. And I remember I called the dealer and asked him about this. I said, is there anything I can do to make the suspension a bit softer, you know, like maybe change some springs or whatever, some shocks? And they said no, because it's a Mazda 3 Sport. It's designed with a sport tuned suspension, and I hate when they do that. Like, why would I need a sport tuned suspension if I'm driving at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour
Pass the street.
on a highway?
Right onto Shaggy
Like,
Avenue.
I don't do 300 kilometers in a race, right? Some Baja race or something, right? So, but they do this.
Shaggy Avenue Trail northwest.
Shut up. But they put these sport tuned suspensions on everything because I'm guessing it sounds good, you know? Oh yeah, Mazda 3 Sport. Sport tuned suspension. So you can drive, you know, at 300 kilometers an hour and be comfortable. So yeah, that suspension is only, it's so tough because at high speeds, right, you want your vehicle to be stable, but you don't need that for a regular driving. And so it was pretty uncomfortable, you know. And I think it was like about 30,000 bucks or something. And so I got rid of that Mazda. And I think my next one was I think I bought a Mustang Mustang V6. It was the last year they were making V6, but it was like a new V6, you know, 300 horsepower. And it was on sale for like 25,000 bucks. And everybody was making fun of me. Should have bought a V8. Well, the GT with the V8 was $50,000. This was 25. 300 horsepower, you know. And I think GT V8 had probably 450, somewhere there, 430 horsepower. So definitely more powerful, but double the money. Actually, yeah, that Mustang was pretty fast. Especially after all the mods I did on it. I did the X-pipe, I did performance mufflers, I did some, you know, I installed a tuner, like, you know, a programmer. So it was great. I went to Florida I went to Florida like for my vacation, I think, when I was waiting for one of my either Mac or Kenworth. Yeah, when I was buying that Mac, the dealer offered me a truck that they had in the yard, because of course for them it's much better to sell something they already have instead of, they don't want you to order from the factory. But that particular truck had like 50, I don't know, super small fuel tanks. You know, I think they did something. It was either a shorter wheelbase or something, but it was way too small. It was like, fuel tanks were more for like local work, you know, when you, like this truck has, I think, whenever I fill up, if it's really empty, I can maybe get like 150 liters. 150 liters, which is, I don't know, 40 gallons. And there's two tanks, but they're pretty small. Whereas on my K-Whopper, I have two 150 gallon tanks. And you want that, right, when you drive long distances, because sometimes you can find a good deal somewhere, like especially since I was doing US to Canada, right? So diesel in US was always way cheaper than in Canada, and so having those big tanks, you know, saved me money, because I would fill up, let's say somewhere, I don't know, even like New York State, I would fill up before going to Canada. But quality was definitely better. Fuel was better quality in Canada, everybody was saying, and I believe that. But you know, it's a lot of money. Like when you put in so many gallons, like 100 gallons, you know, like 500 liters, it's bites you in the pocket a little bit. So I'm glad that I don't have to worry about diesel now, you know, that my bosses pay for fuel, I don't care. So I think today diesel was about $1.40 per liter, which is not too bad. So it went down after they took out the carbon tax. Yeah, that's not mine, that's the company's dash cam. Hot today. John from UK would not be happy because it's gonna hit plus 26, I think, or even 27. And I told my boss, I said, next time it goes for oil change, could you guys do something about air conditioning, because it's very weak. Like even at highest setting, like number 4, you know, the fan, it's the air is not cold enough, so it gets uncomfortable on this truck. Oh, look at this, we got lucky with the oversized load. So this is a K-Warper T800 tandem axle, tandem Jeep, and 2 plus, what is it, 2 plus 2 in the back, so scraper. I moved those quite a few times. So now what we're gonna do is, when I edit this video, I'm gonna cut out this little piece here and put it in the front and do like slow-mo, and they put a title earlier that day, and then we'll play the rest of the video. So this will make things interesting.
Take a slight right turn.
And in front of me is a silver Mustang, just passed me, but I don't think it's a GT because it doesn't have any logos. GT, I can see on the fenders are bare. There's no lettering on the fenders. Actually, I like Mustang because nowadays, right, so the stupid Chrysler discontinued, you know, Challenger and Charger, so now they have I don't like the look of these electric Chargers, and they actually now they're trying to sell them as a dual turbo V6, but they have totally different look than before. They look like electric vehicles, like very narrow, very low radiator, like funny look. But these ones, Mustangs, right, you can buy a GT, they're way cheaper, still with the V8. Yeah, I would love to get one again, you know, but now I'm so used to SUVs because they're so practical, right? I can put my bike in the back, I can attach the bike rack. When I go shooting, there's enough room for like my guns and stuff. So yeah, two-door cars, they look cool, but they're not very practical, especially here in Western Canada, right? We have lots of snow in winter. And of course, that's a rear-wheel drive car. So that's more like for, you know, rich people that have one car for, they would probably have like an SUV for winter, and they would have a car like that for the summer. So you see, both of mine are SUVs. One is small SUV, Jeep Compass, and one is a large Dodge Durango. And Dodge Durango is somewhere now, I have no idea where it is, since they told us to remove the tracker. So that guy from California rented it for a week. He's giving it back hopefully this Friday, I think. Yeah, and then I have another one. Yeah, then after that, next week, I think I have another one. Another customer. And nothing for September, nothing for October, because I increased my prices. And so now nobody's booking my Durango. So I'll probably have to lower the price again. But it's way too cheap. Like one guy that I had to cancel because I just couldn't believe that he rented the Durango for 3 weeks in January. And the average price they charged him was like 70 bucks a day. Canadian, of course. So I would make probably what, like 50 bucks a day for a 7-seat large full-size SUV. Forget it. So I cancel it, and they were not too happy about that, so they charged me 25 bucks cancellation fee. But I don't know, what do you do, right? So I don't want to put too many kilometers on it, honestly, so I don't want to rent it out too cheap, but I need to have something, at least a couple of customers a month. So yeah, I might need to adjust the prices again, make them a bit more affordable. But again, each time I check on Priceline.com for car rentals, SUV like mine, they show $200 a day. I don't know why my rental company is so cheap. I guess there's maybe a lot of competition or something, I don't know. So I tried 150 a day, no takers. So now my Durango is sitting at 135 Canadian a day. So that's what the customer would have to pay. And so if they rent it for 135 a day, I would make $100 a day. So for me, that's worth it, you know. Well, I'm doing second run of the day. I loaded a mini excavator with a clean out bucket, which is a bit strange. Normally people, when they rent an excavator, they get either tooth bucket or tooth and clean out. Clean out is basically doesn't have teeth, so it's no good for digging. So it's mostly when they need to move some material, you know, like maybe load some dirt on a truck or whatever, right? But I did not ask. I double checked the paperwork. Only one bucket, smooth clean out bucket. Okay. I try not to, you know, worry too much about these things, but sometimes mistakes do happen, you know. So when I see something really, you know, that doesn't make sense. So let's say if my paperwork says a mini excavator and there's no bucket, you know, that I would always go back to dispatch and say, like, is there really, we don't need a bucket? Like, they already have a bucket, which the probability is pretty much 0, you know. Well, sometimes when I see something with scaffolding that doesn't make sense, same, I go and ask, and sometimes I did catch a mistake, you know, when they looked and it was not what the customer ordered, you know. Or maybe the customer, the customer sometimes orders, but he forgets some vital piece, you know. Okay, and construction. So now we can do 62.15 miles per hour. Yeah, this is 17 Ave. I came to this area a couple of times to ride my bike, because we're near the river, and this Bow River has a huge network of pathways for bikes. You can park over here.
Take a slight right turn onto Ogden Road toward 26th Avenue.
Yeah, and then you can go on this side there's pathways on that side as well, but there's no parking, so you have to go to around the corner. There's a Pierce Park. Lots of free parking. And then you just come to the river. Okay, I need 17A. No, not here. Interesting. Oh, I think I need Avenue. So this is 17A Street. Yeah, that's where the park is. Like there's a roundabout there, and then it says 40 kilometers an hour, and I see a bunch of cars. So that's parking for the park. And I only found it because I was searching for a scenic bike route Calgary, and this one came up. So it's from here I went down south to Annie's Cafe, like a cute little coffee shop, and it's about 25 clicks, so roughly, what is it, 13 miles? So yeah, 10 miles is 16 kilometers, and then you need 7, yeah, like 13-14 miles one way, and all on paved pathways, like, and it's mostly flat. I want to do it again sometime, maybe bring my white X-Fixie bike. This here, I don't know how much longer they're gonna be doing this. Probably another couple of years. They're fixing this bridge over here.
In 1 kilometer, take a slight right turn onto Ogden Road toward 26th Avenue.
Well, this looks all brand new. This is a funny place. It's a yeast factory. So they make yeast. I brought a couple of scissor lifts over there because they always fix something there. I'm guessing it's an old building.
Use the right lane to take a slight right turn onto Ogden Road.
Some pipes always fall down. And here we have a huge railway or railroad yard. Bunch of engines on my left. See over here, lots of railroad lines.
Take a slight right turn, then turn left onto Ogden Road Southeast. At the light, turn left onto Ogden Road Southeast.
And here there's a cool farmers market. It's under the roof, you know. I'm not sure what this is. All these antennas. It's probably some kind of a. There's another huge antenna, I'm guessing, for cell phones. But all these antennas, look at this. That's for. It looks like either TV or radio. So there must be some kind of a station over here somewhere.
In
17A Street. It is street. Okay, so it's the same as over there. Oh, those portable toilets. Man, I remember those when I worked in Drumheller. We used forks on a skid steer to move them from some remote area and bring them to the central spot where this guy was changing them, you know, because he didn't want to go in his truck to some, you know, bad spot like off-road. And so the boss told us, okay, you guys go and grab all these toilets and bring them over. And it's such a crazy job because you know you cannot see anything, right? When you have to keep it really high. Or another solution is to go backwards, but you know, if it's like a kilometer, it's not a good idea, right? And so what I ended up doing is you have to lift it so as you know, so that your eyes are not blocked, and then you drive like that crazy with the toilet in the air. And another trick I quickly learned is not to tilt your forks too much to the back, you know, because of course you're afraid that this thing will fall off, right? And so when you pick it up, you tilt your forks backwards so that the toilet sits like this, but it has liquid inside, right? And all that bad stuff. But even when they're clean, let's say the guy brings down clean toilets, and now we do the opposite job. We have to pick them up from that central place and deliver them to, let's say, I don't know, northeast corner of the site. And I think once it happened to me, so it was a clean toilet, so no shit inside, but just that, you know, liquid, right? And so I tilted it too much, and so by the time I came to the spot where I was supposed to drop it, I opened the door, and that liquid, that blue liquid, is all over the place, you know, which is not good. Yeah, I'm turning right somewhere here. It says it's 600 meters. I talked to the guy. He says we're in the back, you will see us. He says we are on site, we're working in the back. And I checked the picture on Google Maps. You know, it's always helpful when you can see the picture of the building. Okay. Oh, is that that's the building? Yeah, gray building. I saw the picture on Google Maps. See, it's helpful, you know, when you know what the building looks like, so I don't even have to check the number. Well, just delivered the excavator. There's a wrecker yard in here, and so they're working on this building. And I asked the guy. I came from there and didn't see the guy, and he says, "Hold on, I'm walking towards that side of the building." And it's always kind of like a bit strange, right, when you see a person and you're talking to him on the phone. Even though he was like, you know, I don't know, 100 meters away. So he came out from here and I was parked over there, and we're talking. So okay, I'm coming over. I could probably shout, "Hey, I'm coming over." But nice guy, full gear, I mean full construction, you know, like coveralls, hard hat, you know. Okay, which one am I going? All right, okay. And so dispatch originally told me there was no pickup, that I was just delivering and then returning empty, but then he calls me and he says, well, there's a pickup now. And now I'm going to a very cool place. I like this. These guys always, they, maybe, I don't know, every month or maybe every month probably, they rent a medium-size scissor lift. And I mentioned them before. It's what it is. It's aviation company. So they have planes
At the next light, turn right.
like really cool looking jets, you know, like medium, small size, small jets. And I'm guessing they use those scissor lifts when they, you know, have to work on wings or something. I don't know. But I saved. There's a girl. My contact is like a lady, young lady over there, and I saved her name and phone number in my phone because we deal with them all the time. And you know, it helps when you have your frequent customers. You already have them on the phone, so you don't have to type in the phone number, right? When I send them a message that we're coming, I just sent her that pre-formatted message. Hey, this is so-and-so rental company. We're coming to pick up your rental equipment. Call or email us if there's any kind of like specific instructions for pickup, you know. So it's very nice. It's like pre-formatted. You don't have to type it every time. All I do is just when I type the number, and then in the where you put the message, I type, let's say in this case, PU, pickup. As soon as I type pickup, that pre-formatted message automatically appears, and all I gotta do is just either add ETA, but originally I've been lazy, so I just send them that message, send, that's it. So it says that we are on our way. And like these guys, they know where we are, right? So they are near the airport, and we are near the airport. So, but now my ETA is, what is this? 12 kilometers, 13 minutes. And this is a popular area with truckers because it has this Road King travel center, so truck stop. And then on the other side there's oh, I see diesel, $1.41, gas, $1.25. And that's a petrol pass. I spent many days at these. I hate this one. I don't know, it's kind of like weird inside, but it does have a restaurant. This one doesn't have a restaurant, but it has a couple of basically where you buy food, and then they have tables so you can just eat right there. But inside it's like vokzal in Russian, you know, like a railway station. Vokzal, by the way, a German word from warten, wait, and Saal, big room. So basically waiting room, right? Is it warten or wachen? I'm already forgetting half of my German that I used to know when I was in the university, because it was my second language. But imagine I graduated in 1984, right? Which is what, 16 years over there plus 25 here, 25 and 16, 41, right? 25 and 50, yeah, 41 years ago I graduated from the university. Holy moly. But I still remember like basic words, you know. Ja, nein, verstehen, Hände hoch, nicht schießen, you know, that kind of stuff. Very useful in common life, you know. Nicht schießen, don't shoot. Bist du ein Partisan? Are you a guerrilla? Guerrilla fighter. Ja oder nein? Oh yeah, that was a cool expression. Basically, it was from this movie with Bruce Willis. What was it called? When he was fighting, when he went to visit his wife in the office building, right? And then these terrorists captured the building, and he was kind of like killing them one by one. But then there was the second installment of that franchise, as they call it, right? And these guys are Germans, right? And I remember the cool scene was when my knowledge of German came into play. Because Bruce Willis is walking in the stadium among benches, and there's a German sniper sitting there, and he has him in his sights, and he's talking on the radio to the boss of these terrorists, and he has his finger on the trigger, and he's following Bruce Willis, and he keeps saying in the radio, "Ja oder nein? Ja oder nein?" Basically, shall I shoot? Yes or no? Do I shoot or no? Because he was about to lose him, right? Because Willis was walking, I think, away from him, and he kept saying this, "Ja oder nein? Yes or no? Yes or no?" And Bruce Willis had no idea that his character was, a second away from death, because he couldn't see the sniper. So, and that's what I'm joking, that my knowledge of German, which ja or nein, which are of course the most basic words you can learn in any language. And we are on deer foot. See how bad the roads are? Man, everything is cracked. Sometimes I forget to put my suspension up, but then you feel it right away, because then the rear of the truck starts jumping really bad on potholes. The Apple Maps made me take 17th Avenue exit, and now I'm coming back from Pagan Trail, Barlow Trail, right? So I could have taken that exit. It probably would have been faster instead of going through all these lights. And quite often I noticed that, I mentioned this before, that all these maps, apps, they choose different routes when you go in and go out. Why is it not the same,
Stay in the left 3 lanes.
Okay, I need the McKnight Boulevard exit. That truck, by the way, you see that symbol, red and white? That's Canada Post. That's a mail company. I think it's owned by the government, because it's the same as like U.S. mail, right? So here it's Canada Post. And then we have all these courier companies, Purolator, FedEx, UPS. And the city officials promised that this construction will be done by the end of the summer, and it's already end of August. Doesn't look like they're gonna be finished before winter. There was, you see, like that lane that they created, extra lane, it's still below the level of this one, so it's still not done. Like they have to add maybe like a foot of pavement in there.
Stay in the left 3 lanes.
41 McKnight Boulevard. So we're just south of the airport. And there's a, yeah, you see, it's never ending.
Take the exit.
This is very narrow. There's a lot of
Turn left.
There's a lot of aviation companies over here. Left? Oh, okay, not at the lights. I can only guess how much money the government is paying for this, because this construction has been going on ever since I moved here from Ontario. So millions, billions of dollars.
Onto Aviation Boulevard Northeast.
So our tax is at work. Son of a gun, that guy was behind me. Yeah, this is popular, Aviation Boulevard. And the name, you know, aviation, right? So there's a couple of private terminals in here. And the airport is just, that's north. This is east. And this is a nice plaza. I stop there sometimes for lunch. Lots of restaurants in there. McDonald's, Subway, Fat Burger, Opa. Opa is Greek food. Little Caesars, and what's that? Ariki's all-day breakfast. That's illegal. $165 fine, 3 demerit points. But I see a lot of people are doing this and nobody's catching them, you know. Okay, so we go, yeah, this way. Okay, over here gas or petrol is $1.26 and diesel, and they always have like this. So gas price will be in red and diesel is green. So diesel is 141.9, so basically $1.42, and gas is 126.9, so basically $1.27, which is a good price. Usually here it's cheaper than in Ontario, especially after they canceled that carbon tax, which was federal. And there's a trucking company here on the other side of that intersection. I've been there a couple of times to deliver and pick up scissor lifts. It's called Mullen. Yeah, Mullen Dedicated Logistics. And so my destination, so there's the airport, like there's runways and
Turn right into the parking lot.
taxiways on the other side. You see there's a plane over there, but I know where they usually bring the machine out. So I told them I'm coming, so I know they will have the machine at the gate over here.
At the stop sign, turn right onto Aviation Place Northeast, then take the next right into the parking lot.
You see all these fences? Those are, you know, hangars over there. So the more planes over there, so it's basically, it's all planes and terminals and oh, there you go. See, they brought out our machine over there. Perfect. So I use that hole in the middle. That's the center. I always use that one as my navigation point. See? Like these machines are a pain in the butt to load. You see, like even now, like it's dry. Why are you sliding? It's because when it goes up like this, the motors are over there on the front, and so when it's at an angle like this, there's not enough traction, and so we have to load it like this, because this way for some reason it doesn't usually drives. See, doesn't spin. But in winter, man, especially when it's snow or even after rain, we always have to use the winch. So the machine is loaded. We are good to go. Oh, and they forgot to, well, didn't forget. They were afraid that somebody would steal it, so they didn't leave the key. But I have my own keys. Yeah, I can pretty much operate any machine, you know, like John Deere, like excavator, skid steer, loader. It's pretty cool that they give you all these keys. Like we only have them in the Freightliners, so we have 2 Freightliners, right? Each of them has this. Very handy, because sometimes it's not possible to, like, a guy forgot to leave a key and he went out of town, you know, let's say, and I'm there to pick up the machine, so, and it's a holiday, like a long weekend. A couple of times it happened like that, and so he took the key with him. Okay, PTO office, that's what I forgot. See, like it's red, that's the suspension. Oh, but by the way, let me show you. Let's see if I forget to turn it back on. So now there's no air in the airbags. Now look at this, like there's a crack here. As soon as I come to this crack, the truck will start jumping. Well, you don't feel it yet. I think maybe because there's still some air. See a nice looking plane over there. See, this is where they keep planes. And actually this is cool. Reminds me of my trucking days. Canada Border Services Agency, border inspection. Holy moly. So I'm guessing there's some massive construction over there. Yeah, there's nowhere to go, right? There's another plane over there behind my shoulder. Now if you want to buy a plane, this is the place. Hopkinson Aircraft Sales. I don't see the parking lot, like, you know, filled up with people. Like, I wonder how many planes they sell, like, a month, you know? Do they sell them? Like, imagine you're a salesperson working for this company, so you have to call. Oh, you see? Did you hear that? That's the rear axle jumping. Yeah, I have to put it back on. Yeah, I see. That's that sound. That's the sound the axle makes when there's no air in the airbags. And so yeah, I called this girl, and she says I'll be right there. And there's someone in this building, I think. And she's running. Actually, I don't know, she's like 25, 27. She's running, so I felt kind of awkward. When she gave me the key, I said, you don't have to run. And she says, it's okay, gives me exercise. And then she runs back. Like after she gave me the key. You know, stupid prairie dog in the middle of the road. Go back, idiot. That's favorite food for all these birds of prey, you know. They're sitting on top of all these light posts near roads because they know sooner or later
Turn right onto McKnight.
some idiot prairie dog will try to cross the road and will be killed. And so all that falcon or whatever kestrel has to do is just
Then at the next one,
sit
turn right.
sit tight and wait, because there's like millions of these things.
At the light, turn right onto McKnight Boulevard Northeast. Then keep right to
This
Metro
place
Highway 2 North.
sometimes gets really crazy during rush hour because there's people trying to leave from, you see this manhole cover all broken up. Okay, who's going? All right, I'm going. That's another reminder.
To merge onto Highway 2 North.
Coal International, you know what that is? That's a customs broker, right? So I had to deal with these idiots all the time. Who was the other one? Livingston was the big one. Always some kind of problem at the border. And then you show up at the US border, let's say from Canada, right? Okay, so here I'm supposed to yield to these guys on my left because there's kind of like two ramps. Sooner or later there'll be an accident here because it doesn't make sense. Why am I yielding? And so you show up at the border and the window is closed, of course, and you sit there and he's chatting with his buddy, and eventually after like
In 6
2 minutes
take exit 260.
the guy with a bored look on his face opens the door. What do you have? That's usually their first question, right? And I have an RGN trailer, so no walls on the trailer, and I'm parked at his window, right? And I have an excavator on the RGN trailer, and the first question they ask is, what do you have? So sometimes I make like a slight pause and I look over my shoulder back to the trailer, but you know, you don't want to push it because they really don't have any sense of humor. But I think once I said, I think it's an excavator, and the guy looks at me, you know, not happy with the answer. So yeah, don't joke like that. So an excavator, just one word replies, you know, just yes, no, yes, no. Don't volunteer any information. Excavator, it's a CAT 360. No, one word answer. What do you have? Excavator. Where are you going? No, actually no, wait, I'm starting to forget. First thing they say, you give them your passport, the first thing they ask is citizenship. And the guy who's holding my Canadian passport, citizenship, Canada, what do you have? And there's an excavator on my trailer. Excavator, where are you going? And I give him my paperwork, right? So he knows exactly where I'm going, but he's testing to see if I know where I'm going. Like, I'm at the border and I have no idea where I'm going. Not sure, sir. Imagine that kind of answer, right? Where are you going? I'm not sure. I'm waiting for my dispatch to tell me. So it's a secret location. He would definitely tell me to park for secondary inspection if I told him that. But yeah, so normally, okay, citizenship, what do you have? Where are you going? So let's say I say Baltimore, Maryland. And sometimes they ask you, when are you coming back? And actually, once I had like an argument with a guy, you know? When are you coming back? I said, I don't know. He looks at me, not happy with the answer again. What do you mean you don't know? Well, I said, after I deliver this load, I'll have to wait till I find my next load to go take me to Canada. Sometimes it happens like this, but sometimes you have to wait there a couple of days. So, but as soon as I get the load, I'm heading back to Canada. You know, but of course, their problem is that how do we know that you're not gonna stay in the States? Why would I stay in the States? You know, like I look at my record. I've been, let's say at that moment, I've been trucking for, I don't know, 15 years. And it's all across the border. So that's my job. I move stuff across the border. US, Canada, Canada, US. But yeah, those guys were really sometimes difficult to work with, you know. Canadian side as well, right? So no sense of humor. Once a guy, like true story, a guy says, do you have any weapons on board? And I decided to be funny. I say, I have a bazooka, but I left it at home. The guy looks at me, not a shade of a smile on his face. He says, park for secondary inspection. True story. And they park, and they find something, and they gave me a fine, $1,300. And the guy says, no, you cannot leave unless you pay. And I remember my cards are maxed out. And there's no cell phone reception. You know, quite often at the border, the cell phones don't work. And so, to my surprise, they still had a payphone over there. You know, payphone. And of course I have no coins. Like, who's carrying coins? And yeah, so I had to call my bank and ask him to give me a break and allow me to process the transaction with a maxed out credit card.